Hello and welcome to our Living with Invisible Disabilities interview series. Today we're going to talk about some of the challenges, misconceptions, and successes of living with invisible disabilities. Specifically today we're going to talk about Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Pretty sure I got that wrong, but we have Linda here and she's going to correct me here in just a few moments. So Linda, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Shawnette. I'm glad to be here and I'm glad to share my experience.
Great. So we're going to start today because we always want to make a point that people are about so much more than just the challenges that they have to overcome. So because we're here in fall, going to do a little fall edition of getting to know Linda.
Yay.
So I'm excited about this part because these are all of my favorite things.
Great.
Okay. So Linda, if you had to choose hot cocoa or apple cider?
Hot cocoa.
Okay, yes, that's a tough one. If you've got an afternoon to spend, is it going to be with fall leaf viewing or maybe an evening with friends by a bonfire?
Oh, girl, I love them all. I really have to say both. I love being outside during this time of year, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing, and I love fire, so I can't choose. Is that an option?
That's okay. I think we can get it all. We can get it all. So the last one, flannel shirts or sweatshirts?
Oh my goodness gracious. I would say sweatshirts.
Okay, so here's what we have. We're going to have some hot cocoa outside by the bonfire as we watch the leaves fall in a sweatshirt. That work?
Sounds like a perfect day to me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We know everything we need to know about you now. But we're going to go on and talk a little bit about Hashimoto's. I'm not even going to try to say thyroiditis one more time. That's the end of that.
No one ever says that. So Hashimoto's or Hashis is fine.
Great. And Hashimoto's is a fun word, but I'm sure it's not a fun situation. So first, can you tell us, just for myself and for our audience, kind of give us just your definition of what Hashimoto's is?
Okay. So it's an autoimmune condition. There are tons of autoimmune conditions out there. Some people say autoimmune disease. I call it condition. And what happens is your body sees your thyroid, which is located in your neck, as a foreign thing, like a virus or something like that. So my body is attacking my thyroid, thinking it's something that should not be there. And the thyroid actually, every cell in your body has a thyroid receptor, every single one. So it's a very important part of your body and it affects a lot of things.
So you've got a little mini war going on inside your body for something that you really need, and it's trying to get rid of it.
And you don't know about it. Yes.
So that's a very unique thing. So how did you come to the Hashimoto's diagnosis?
So it's a long process. It's not like I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I don't feel good. Let me go to the doctor, right? Like a cold or anything like that. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what was wrong. Well, actually, I thought I was just getting older, to tell you the truth, because the symptoms I had were my hair was falling out. I was extremely tired, beyond tired. I couldn't recall things, really bad brain fog. And I always say, when I try to explain what it feels like, it's like you wake up and you feel like tomorrow you're going to be sick. You know, when you're getting a cold and that day before you're like, I think something's going on. That's every single day. It could get worse, but every day that's pretty much how I felt. And I knew that was not right. Something was wrong. So I went to my medical doctor first because I knew they probably wanted to do blood work. And since I have a little bit of insurance, I'd go to them first and get that. He said I was fine. I knew that wasn't the truth. So I'd been going to a chiropractor who was also, he had Hashimoto's himself. He did my blood work and said I was fine and that it was my adrenals and gave me some things. And he said, oh, you'll feel fine after you take these. And I didn't. And so I finally went to my third doctor, who was also a functional medicine doctor. And she took, I mean, when I get a blood test with her, it's 7 vials of blood. So she does a thorough blood work, and that's how it's found, and she said you definitely have Hashimoto's. So that was how I came to the realization that something was really wrong.
So you're going through all of this and kind of the fear of what could be going on. And did you have any knowledge of what Hashimoto's is prior to your diagnosis?
No, I had heard of Hashimoto's. Like I said, that second doctor I went to, he had Hashimoto's. I thought it was a stomach thing. I don't know why. I just thought it was something with the stomach, and so I knew nothing. I cannot remember if I researched that beforehand. I don't think so. I was just trying to figure out what it was, and I had no clue.
So, given that, when you did have a name for what had been going on with you, was that more of a relief, or because you didn't know exactly what Hashimoto's was, you may have had some knowledge you could see that your chiropractor was obviously able to function daily and those types of things. So, it was that more of a relief or worry when you got the diagnosis?
It wasn't worry at all. Um, I I always, well, I do a lot of research. Okay, so Dr. Google is giving me a lot of information. Sometimes Dr. YouTube too, and so when they tell me things, whenever, it doesn't matter how little it is, I love to research it. So I did a lot of research, and there's a lot of things, and the weird thing about Hashimoto's is not everybody's the same. So it's not like my symptoms are going to be someone else's symptoms necessarily. They can be, like, they maybe have hair loss and weight gain, but maybe they're not tired, or maybe they don't have the extreme brain fog. So I did a lot, and there was one video I watched on YouTube. I was like, "Oh my goodness," because you didn't realize it's a progressive thing, right? So it doesn't start out, like I said, I didn't wake up and feel this way. I'm sure it happened over many years, and I didn't realize that I felt bad. I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just normal. That's how I always felt. Always. It's every day. It's not like you feel better. It was every day. So I wasn't worried. I just want to know how to fix it.
So we get to the fix it part. So, without having to go into all the details of what is involved, or is it medication, therapies, just kind of general, what difference when you started a treatment,
Mhm.
what difference that made in your everyday life?
So there are different treatments. I obviously choose the more natural way. I'm not going to do medicine. I feel like that masks it. So I did supplements, and it, again, it's a process. I'm not gonna take a supplement today and feel better tomorrow. So it took a while for that, and a lot of ups and downs, and it still will be forever and ever. Um, but I also decided to do, um, and the word is, okay, so brain fog. Let me go over the brain fog. When I say the symptoms of Hashimoto's, most of my friends are going to be my age, and they're like, "Oh, I probably have Hashimoto's." I'm like, "You may," right? Because it's brain fog, it's weight gain, it's all those things that happen when you're older but don't have to happen. So I kind of got off the subject there, but brain fog is really real. There are days, today's not bad, but there are days when I don't even try to pull out information from my head because it's not there. It won't come. So anyway, whenever I can't think of a sentence or a word, I'm like, "Oh dear, help me say it." So um so I also hired a health coach who did not have a knowledge of Hashimoto's. He was more weight loss and do it in a nutritious way, not just a. But anyway, it was more protein, and that made me. And I don't like protein. I would rather eat carbs. I'm a carbaholic, so I did change. I did change my diet, and I felt a lot better, a lot. Even though I fight it all the time, but I did change my diet also.
Have you found in your journey that there are things that you can either do or avoid doing that make a difference in how your day goes, or whether you go into a period of where it is worse than normal or better than normal?
Absolutely. So Again, I hate to say I should cut out gluten. To my triggers, I found are gluten and sugar. Um, both of which I love, part of that carboholic thing. Um, so I try to eliminate them. Now, today I did have some pumpkin bread, and I have this drink over here that has sugar in it. So I'm going to see how I am tomorrow. I started journaling maybe about 2 weeks ago because there are days when I wake up, I'm fine. I've been fine for about 2 weeks. And then there are days when I wake up when I feel horrible. And that's the thing. Like, I can't even say to people, I feel sick, because with COVID, they're like, but it's not a catchy sick. You're not going to get it. I just feel horrible. And it's these days, especially, it's hard to say that to people because they're going to think that you're, giving them something by being with them. So anyway, I'm keeping this journal so that I can go back and go, oh, I did have that pumpkin bread. So maybe that's why I'm not feeling good. And do an elimination diet in a different way where I just know what I'm eating and eliminate the things that aren't causing those triggers.
So, how do you manage the mental and emotional ups and downs that must come with the back and forth of having good days and having days that are the complete opposite, and they may just only be a few hours in between or days in between that you
Mhm.
go from those extremes?
Um, it's not always easy, but I think the longer it's been about a year and a half that I have the diagnosis. So it's fairly new. And I have to realize that that's life for me now, right? If I'm extremely tired or if I have extreme brain fog, I'm not going to function. I'm just not. I just have to, I don't know, call it waiting until it's over. Fortunately, with my job, I don't have to be, at my desk from 9 to 5. I can go take a nap if I'm extremely tired, or I can go take a walk, which really helps also. If I take a walk every day, it really, really helps what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't feel like it though, because I don't have the energy. I'm so tired. I'm like, I can't even put my shoes on. So I have to realize that and just do that. So it's the exercise, it's the knowing that tomorrow's going to be better or the next day's going to be better. Right now, I don't have a lot of that. So I'm very thankful. But at the beginning, I thought I'd never feel good. It was not good.
That is scary, I can imagine. How do you manage the expectations of friends and family members that may not understand this? You're able to do all of these things one day, and then a few days later, you have to decline invitations or not be able to do things that it's hard for them to understand how you can have that big of a swing.
So part of it is I live alone. So that part is the good part. I don't have to explain to anybody. The part that's bad about that is sometimes I'll be laying on the couch going, I know I should eat. I just can't get up right now. Like, you know, just leave me alone is good. But sometimes you need somebody. It's like if they could just make me, I don't know, a sandwich or some soup or whatever, it would make me feel better. Um, I do a lot through it. So even if I don't feel good and I have to, like, if I have to go show homes and I don't feel good, I just go do it. Um, they don't know, they can't see it, the invisible that you're talking about. They don't see that I don't feel good. I'll just go do it and work through that. My friends, they don't, they're okay with either way. Like I said, I still just go and do because I still can. I just don't feel like it.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Have you had to work a little harder to build a support system around you? And sometimes that makes you vulnerable to sharing things you might not want to share, so that you do have that support system. You said it can be progressive, so there may be a time where you do need someone to call and say, have you eaten today? Have you worked on building that support network, and how important is that?
It's absolutely important. So you do have to tell people whether you're feeling well or whether you're not. If you spend time with them, you need to tell them that sometimes you don't feel good. Um, I know at my work, especially, you have to give yourself permission to do this too, but my broker would say, Linda, if you have to go take a nap, take a nap. Because I'm a workaholic also. Like I always am working, always. So to do that, I felt like I can't do that. It's, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They they just know now. And if I tell them I have to go home or have to do this, they know because I do. And by sharing, which is why I agreed to do this video, people don't realize they're not the only one. They're not the only one that feels this way. They're not the only one that is like, why am I so tired? So I love this. So thank you for doing it because you have to talk about it so that people know about it.
That's great. That's a good point. And you are managing it, and you are making a plan for the future by informing people. What are some of the, as you have shared with other people, what are some of the assumptions that people make that you have to correct them on, kind of, and you find yourself doing that repetitively?
That's my kind of a pet peeve about this is when I do say, they'll say, what is it? And what are the symptoms and all that? And I go through it. Like I told you before, I'll say, well, really tired. And this. So I was showing homes and it was about an hour and a half away. When I had this, I had to go. I pulled in a parking lot before I showed homes and took a nap in my car. Okay. I don't nap. So that I knew then something was really wrong. I literally had to take a nap. I couldn't drive anymore. I was that tired. Um, so when people say, and when I say a brain fog, that's the weirdest thing to me. Literally, I could see someone's face in my brain. They could be my best friend. Cannot tell you what their name is. Can't. And people say that all the time. Oh, I don't remember names. I get really tired. It's different. It's really different. It is extreme in that. And when people say that they may have it, I always say you might, because if you are experiencing all those things, you don't have to have that just because you're getting older. It does not have to happen. Something is wrong. Your body was not made at 55 to be falling apart. So you you may. So I don't know. It's just hard. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I was like, oh," like it's a joke. Like I'm serious. This is not something that's just I had to take a nap yesterday because I got up at 4 a.m. So it's very different. It's very it's hard to explain.
Yes, yes, I can see how that would be. You say that you're tired, and well, I'm tired too. Well, I'm not tired because I stayed up too late last night. I went to bed early, and I'm still tired as if I never went to bed.
Mhm.
And it may be that way tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And it is hard for people that haven't experienced that. They haven't seen you live through that, to understand what that is like. And it's also hard not to be bitter towards them because you know that they don't mean anything by it. So the best
Right.
thing that you can do and that we can do is educate.
Right.
So I'm glad that you are continuing to educate people and saying, well, maybe you should get that checked out because it's not normal. Um,
Exactly.
and there are a lot of autoimmune diseases there or conditions that fall into some of those same categories, but then it breaks down to particular other parts of it that make it unique to that particular thing. So I know that fatigue and some of those other things are common to other autoimmunes.
And I've learned that when you have an autoimmune, you most likely have another autoimmune. They come in bunches. So
Well, that's great, right?
right. I'm good though right now. I'm good.
Well, you are in a good place. And, you said you were doing all of that searching, Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube, which can be both terrifying and comforting as you
Absolutely.
find others going through things that you're going through, but sometimes they're on an extreme end that you may never get to. And that can be just as scary. But let's say there's someone who is new to this journey. They've just found out, doctors just told them Hashimoto's, and they don't know what in the world that means. And they've come home and they've gone to Dr. YouTube, and here's Linda. What word would you like to give to them, both in kind of steps to take moving forward and encouragement?
Okay. So it's not the end of the world, even though you'll have it in your body forever. It can go into a remission. This is Dr. Linda talking. I don't have a medical degree. This is my way of explaining it. And you have to find what works for you and what you are comfortable with. So I told you early that I'm not comfortable with putting medicine in me to mask what's going on in my body. I want to fix what's going on in my body. So I chose the natural route. I know it's going to take longer, and it's something that didn't happen in one day and is cured the next day. It's going to take a long time. And I felt so bad for so many days that I said, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to find out how to get better. And your body is an amazing machine that has a lot of healing properties as long as you're taking in the right things, right? Okay. So if it's medicine, it's medicine. If it's nutrition that will help you with that healing process. So you're going to feel horrible. I can say this, just keep going. And if you have to take a nap, if you do the things that you have to do, but I think it's the positive, maybe outlook and positive attitude. Like for me, I'm not going to live feeling horrible I'm not going to. I'm going to make it better however I have to do that. So know that there's a way to do that. Find out what it is for you. Find out what your triggers are. And they said that to me since the beginning. Oh, this will trigger. You'll hear that a lot on the YouTube videos. This triggered my Hashimoto's. This triggered my flare up. I didn't find anything at the beginning that triggered it. Like I couldn't say, oh, it was this or not enough sleep, or because it encompasses so much of your life. But since I did do the nutrition and got a lot of the carbs out for a while, that I notice now that that's what does it. So it doesn't keep me from eating them, unfortunately. But I don't want it to get worse because I don't want to shut down of my entire thyroid. So if I can delay that, I guess I can give up a cookie once in a while.
It's tough. The things you have to do. The things you have to do. Find your path forward, which could be different for everyone. Work on that mind-body connection and what you believe about yourself and your future. Build the support network and educate others. Does that sound like we covered it?
Sounds perfect.
Well, Linda, thank you so much. I think we could talk about this all day, but thank you so much for sharing your journey. Your journey is going to be unique from anybody else's. However, the things you've learned along the way can certainly help others as they move forward. So we appreciate your time here today. If you would like to learn more about Linda, talk to Linda, or Linda is a realtor in North Georgia, and she'd be glad to help you in any way possible, I'm sure. Linda, how could people reach out to you?
They can email me. Are you going to put this in the notes?
I will. Mm-hmm.
Okay, they can email me or call or text me or friend me on Facebook. I'm on there all the time. So any of those ways is fine.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And you can find us at joshuasvoice.org, and all of our social information will also be below. We hope that you go about today, enjoy the fall leaves, enjoy the hot cocoa, and enjoy living your best life regardless of whatever your invisible disability may be, and just go be the best you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Shawnette.